A very good evening, everyone. A very good morning to people who are joining us from the other side of the world. And welcome to this fifth episode of poetry from all over the world. The World Poetry
So this is a technical problem. That's what we are facing right now. And she's talking about the word poetry, and the technology didn't like it when it happened. So now we start again. Kamaini.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this fifth episode of Poetry from Around the World. The World Poetry Movement, WPM, and Kritya both recognize the tragic threshold that we, the inhabitants of this beautiful earth, find ourselves at. We are at war with each other, at war with the planet, and at war with ourselves. We continue to destroy, we continue to be destroyed. We see this earth, our home, in danger, and yet we participate in its violation. The current season of poetry has been an endeavor to seek asylum in poetry and to seek the healing touch of verse. We seek to connect with people across linguistic and political boundaries to unite them in a common thread, which is an awakening that the earth is our home and we need to come together to save it. Today, we meet for the fifth session of poetry reading, and the earlier sessions have been extremely successful. They've seen poets from around the world and from all across the states in India, and we've tasted emotion that crossed all languages. Today, we're hoping to hear poetry from wonderful poets from Bangladesh, from India, from Turkey, and from a few other countries. But for the fact that for some technical reason, many of them have not yet joined us, we're hoping that they will in due course of the session. But to begin with, I would like to invite the festival director, Dr. Rati Saxena, to speak a few words about this festival, about the objective of these sessions, and about the healing touch of poetry. She's been working on this aspect of poetry for a long, long time, and I think she's extremely passionate about it. Dr. Rati Saxena, please.
Good evening from India. And it is, as we say that here we have evening and somewhere it is morning. I welcome you all, whoever come to watch this session. As Kamaini said that this is our fifth program. And in this program, we wanted to highlight the language which belong to our great poet, Tagore. And this is the language which does not belong to one country, one whole country, Bangladesh. Its language is Bangla. And in India also, a vast place, a vast state reads or writes in Bangla. It is the most beautiful language, and that is why we wanted to highlight. As usual, we wanted to invite some international languages poets also, and that is how we invited two poets from one from Belgium and one from Turkey. So, But somehow what happened, poets forgets, and I do not find the poets from Bangladesh. Doesn't matter. Poetry moves on. I don't find the other Bangla poets who should carry the flag of Rabindranath Tagore. In this April month, what was our plan? We wanted to highlight the languages. We wanted to take Kritya to different languages, different part of India. We always believe that the poetry does not belong to cities or highlight society. It should be from the down to earth, from the people who are related to earth, who are down to earth, should read poetry and write. That's what we have done. In Gujarati, we had many poets who were actually not big cities poet, who belonged to villages. They took part. So we highlight Gujarati poetry along with international poetry. Same time, we highlight um, the northeastern languages. We have many northeastern languages. So we have highlighted northeastern languages poetry. And then we have highlighted the Marathi poetry, which was a dream of Kritya. Means in this poetry, laborers were farmers, police officers. They are poets. They were taking part in it, and the labor, the farmer, the farm worker. These people were reading their poetry, not only the city and high class poetry. And for Hindi also, though Hindi is a Hindi, mostly the Hindi poets live in a capital of India, but our poets belong to the desert and from the mountain. Why? Because earth is our home and earth belongs to everyone. And it did, and at the time of war, people ask me that why you are giving this theme. Anyway, this theme belong to word poetry movement, and Northern is also part of it. And word poetry movement is doing such poetry sessions 2 times in a year, and this is the part of it. But why, when we talk about earth, when we talk about when we say that earth is our home, we we indirectly, or we are telling that earth is our home, so why you are fighting? This whole earth is our home. So we need not fight for the small cities and a small house or a small lane and all. So that is indirectly or directly talking against the war. But not only the human war, we are talking about the war with the nature. Like Nurdan, she is writing poetry for the trees. So the earth is our home. Does our means we means here not only human, even trees. The earth is home for trees. Earth is home for the mountains. Earth is home for rivers. The earth is home for animals, the birds, the fishes, and every creature. According to Indian philosophy, even there is no difference between living and non-living. According to our philosophy, even non-living also have this right, or this uh, they understand this. So this is our this is our the last session in this month, which we were highlighting Bangla poetry, but I don't find any Bangla poet till now. And we have Jeton Kelmendi and Nurduran from Turkey. And I think Kamaini will invite Noradan first, and then we will invite Jeton. and then we will talk about it. We will read our poetry. We are not shortage of poetry, and never shortage of poetry. Thank you, Kamayani. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you so much, Rati ma'am. Thank you for setting the stage for this session. This is the uh, last session, so it's almost a summing up of all that we have wanted to do through these poems and through the poets attending these sessions. And the first poet in the session, in the fifth session today, is Nurduran Duman. And she's a Turkish poet, she's a playwright, and she lives in Istanbul. She wrote her first poem when she was only 8 years old. And when she was 9, she promised herself that she would be a writer when she grew up. She liked poetry, so she became a poet. Pursuing her passion for the sea, she received a degree as an ocean engineer and naval architect from the Istanbul Technical University. She's a columnist in one of the most prestigious newspapers of Turkey, Cumhuriyet, and she's also a member of the Turkish PEN. We're so happy to have you with us today, Nurduran, and we're so eager to hear your poems. Thank you for being with us. Over
Thank
to
you
you.
very much. Thank you. And I'm very happy to be with you today. Before reading my poems, I just want to say something about what Rati said a, a few minutes ago. In India, you said, Rati, it is the same non-living and living. They are all the same. And in mystic Islam, uh, maybe you heard Rumi, Mevlana, and also Yunus Emre, who that we owe to him about our beautiful Turkish language, because 1,000 years ago he wrote very beautiful Turkish poems. So Yunus Emre, Rumi, Mevlana all say that there is no difference between non-living or living. And also, when we look at from these days to this subject, quantum mechanics also says this. So I believe the same. And about the trees, I can say that if we want to be good person or good poet, we can try to be a tree. Because when we understand a tree, we can understand humanity and the world. So tree is a very exciting subject. So thank you. And now I'm going to read my poem in Turkish, and Kamayani will help me for the English ones. Okay. Çatım çakım. Taştan toprağa, tuz ile kitaba. Tüm yaşam sahipleri. Çıkın artık. Çıkın ileri. İşte ayak ucunuz üçün vakti. İç engel, dış önlem, seçimler, kötülük bir kaza. İnsan iyidir, iyidir doğa. Her gece uyumadan önce herkes tutam karanlık gömse, ağaç altına, bir su dibine, kalbi kalbe çatan insan, iki taşı çakamaz mı birbirine? Kamayani, thank you.
So, this poem in English is called Binding Sparking, and this has been translated by Grace Vessel. Binding Sparking. Stones to soil, salt to books, all life carriers. Come now, come forward. Here only one step, already 3 times of 3. Inner barriers, outer fences, decisions, evil, and accident. One's self is pure, pure as nature. Every night before sleep, everyone could bury a pinch of darkness underneath trees to water's bottom. Heartfelt hearts bind together. Can't we speak? Can't we spark stones and set alight? Heartfelt hearts bind together. Can't we spark stones and set alight?
Thank you. Çaydan. Sokağa karıştım, kökünden sökük goncayım artık. Yol kenarı azıcık. Bir az, tomurcuk. Dibe çökmüş özlemlerimle, tavşan kanı biraz. Az bir aşık. Anne, gel sar çılgınlarımı. Topla beni, eve katla. Camdaki şarkınla demle beni, feslenlerle süsle. Beni şekerle, karıştır elinle, ev içir bana anne. Sokağa çıktım soğuk çalan taç yaprağıyım, terim yorgun. Geri çekilmiş özlemlerle biraz boşluğum, bir çok ayrılık. Biraz çatı, biraz saçak altıyım. Kopuk dökük goncayım artık. Anne, gel silkele tozumu. Dür beni göğsüne katla. Yine büyüt harfle ninniyle 3 gün 3 gece uyut. Beni hayatta yatır anne. Gözünün önüne. Kalın bir ev içi ser üstüme. Yani.
This poem in English is called Teapot, and this again has been translated by Andrew Wessel. Teapot. I, mixed with the streets, ripped from your roots, a rosebud no longer. The road is shortened, one small bud, with my yearnings sunk. I'm a tea, a little bit blood red, a lesser lover. Mother, come wrap my sprouting shoots, pick me up, tuck me into the house, steep me on the window in your song's vibrations, garnish with basil, sugar me, stir with your hand, make the house drink me, mother. I left the street, I'm a frost-bitten petal, my sweat is tired. I took my missing feelings back. I'm a little bit emptiness, a full separation. I'm a small roof, a small portico. I'm a rosebud torn loose, no longer. Mother, come shake off my dust, tuck me like a roll in your chest, raise me again with letters and lullabies, put me to sleep 3 days and nights, lay me in life, mother, before your eyes, spread a thick inside over me. Lay me in life, mother, before your eyes, spread a thick inside over me.
Thank you. Şuraya da bir gök koyalım. Mümkün mü neon lambası olmadan gökleri delenlerin ışığını saçabilmek şimşek gibi gittiğin yere eşit? Kediye, timsaha, caddeye, çayıra mümkün mü insana? İçimizde daima yıldızlara dönmek diyen şu parça, karışması değil, katışma sebebi değil midir bu ile ötenin? Kararması derisinin, sararması, gömlek gömlek ağarması. Sihirden, neşeden başka nedir dünyanın insana dağılması? Come on.
Yes. Let's put a sky over there. Again translated by Andrew Wessels. Is it possible, without being the skyscraper's neon lights, to spill light like a flash of lightning on your path? Equally, to the cat, the alligator, to the street, to the meadow, is it possible to the human? Our insight always returning to the stars who tell that fragment, isn't it a reason to be connected and not separated, this and the beyond? Your skin's darkening, yellowing, the shirt, the whitening shirt, from magic, from joy, what else to humans? The world's dispersing.
Thanks. Gök yerleşmiş göle. Gök yerleşmiş göle. Bulutlar uçan halı. Adımladık adımlıyoruz ayı yürüyüşünü. Üstünden geçiyoruz dansının. Suyla zamanın. Uçuşarak hidrojen etekleri süzülüyor yanımızdan, başımızdan tan. Saçıp saçılarak tarçından maviye, elmastan arıdan. Tarlalar, bahçeler beziyoruz yerin ipeğini. Öğreniyoruz biz de ekip biçmeyi, ışığı.
The sky settled on the lake. The sky settled on the lake, the clouds a flying carpet. We prepare to step on the moon, its walk, and pass over the moon's dance, its water and time. Rustling hydrogen skirts floating, passing by our sides, by our heads, daybreak. We spread and are spread from cinnamon to blue, from diamond, from bee. We are graced with fields and gardens on the earth's silk. We too are learning to cultivate the light.
Thank you. Yeti. Işık çarpışır çiçekle, göz varsa renk olur. Yoksa oluştur. Olan oluşur sadece. Kulak yoksa ormanda, çıtırdasın yaprak. Ses oluştur sadece. Yankının bekleyişi dağı. Koku koklanmak ister. Ad için, isim için. Uçuşur çeperden çeper. Tenin tenle bilişi. İnsan artı biridir dünyanın. Katma değeridir. Ayrı ayrı vergisi, aynı sevişi.
This poem in English is called Ability. Light collides with the flower if there's an eye color becomes, if there's no eye, it's just being. Becoming becomes only. If there's no ear, let the leaf crunch, sound as only being. The echo waiting for the mountain scent desires inhalation to discern. Divine the name, the reputation, membrane flies from the membranes. The knowing of skin with skin, the human is the plus one of the world. She is the added value, individual talents, the same loving. Translated by Andrew Wessels.
Thank you. And now the last poem. I wrote this poem for Miro's paintings. In fact, my favorite painter is Monet, but I wrote a poem for Miro. Bizim göğümüz var. Miro'nun şekilden boyadan sözcüklerini. Düşün içinden öte bir düşe. Açılır kapanır bir yıldız kapı. Derinden biçilmiş, değerlenmiş hafifçe. Görünmez iğneyle göğün eteğini. Bizim bir göğümüz var. Gözden gemilerimiz, kirpikten kanatlarımız, bir bakışmamız da bizim bir uçuşumuz. Gülmenin biçimlerini çalışıyoruz. Hayatın başka meydan okumalarını. Thank you.
So this poem in English is called We Have Our Sky. To Miro's words, in shapes, colors. In a dream into another dream, a door opens, closes. A star deep cut angles, stitched down lightly by an invisible needle on the folds of sky. We have our own sky, ships made of eyes, wings of eyelashes. In meeting glances, we take flight. We are practicing forms of laughter. Life is another defiance.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nudrugan. And now we are going to hear Shashwat. Shashwat Gangopadhyay ji, welcome. Shashwat ji is one of the prominent faces of contemporary Bengali poetry who started writing in the mid-90s. He was born and brought up in Kolkata, and ever since he started writing, he has participated in different international poetry festivals in Europe, in North America, in Latin America. And his poems have been published in all 6 continents in more than 100 international journals and many anthologies. Of course, they've also been translated into 7 or 8 languages, and he's been invited to read his poetry both in the UK and the United States of America. And we're so happy to have him with us today. Shashwatji, welcome, and we're eager to hear your poems. Welcome, please. I think you need to unmute yourself, Shashwatji.
He has already unmuted. No, now he has muted. But there is some connection problem he's finding. Shaswati, can you? No, your sound is not there. No, uh, there is some problem with your sound.
I audible?
Shashwatji,
Hello?
maybe you could remove your headphone and then try speaking.
Right now, am I audible?
Yes.
Yes, now.
Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes.
now.
Okay. Now, very good evening, and my best regards, the organizer. It's really a privilege to read out my poems in front of the entire India, because Kritya itself is a very renowned poetry festival. And right now, I was in a very big poetry festival happening in Kolkata, where a majority of the poets, all the galaxy of stars of different states were available. That's why I am right now outside my home. Now, without taking much time, I am just reading out 3 of my small poems. First of all, a ballad on estrangement. You are not easily available. For me, very tough to meet you. On the Nilgiri mountain, Kurinji flowers blooming in autumn, every 12 years gap. You resemble the very identical species. You have bloomed once again during this season all over the valley. Those suffering from leprosy assemble there and believe that they will be cured if they paste grinding petals of a rare species like you on their wounds. All their old maladies will be gone for good. Following the equator, I have also come here. We are belonging to the same planet, but rarely meeting each other. I will climb to search you using the worn-out staircase throughout the mist. We lie down tiringly on the notch of a stone. You just cast off upon my body. Open your petals from head to the fingers of your 2 legs. Let the storm dash out. If you put your lips on my lips, you are the sanatorium to me, the secret panacea.
Can you read in
My,
Bangla also, please? This poem? Because the beauty of Bangla
my
language.
second poem, Poetry of Third World. I am nobody at all. Just a cultivator of cotton belonging to Third World, his youngest son. I have grown up by swallowing the froth of sea. On my burnt skin, there is printed the world map all over the body. Hunger rises in spiral motion around my stomach. If you give me love, I will multiply it 3 times by sheer magic and put it under your feet. If you give me hatred, if you offend me from my top to bottom, I will come back not to take revenge, but to my writing papers, and I will throw each of my poems one after another, just like daggers. Yes, all the boys of Third World are just like this. And my last poem, an Egyptian folktale. Don't throw stones at a fellow who truly loves you. Those stones will come back to you someday or other. It's an Egyptian folktale, the written version in the proverb. But you didn't obey it. Rather, as a first lover, you ditched him, leaving him alone. Putting chewing gum casually in your mouth at 8 o'clock past 10 in the morning, you are crossing the quiet desert. No mirage is visible, only broken skeletons of camels lie scattered here and there. Sometimes after, the sun will look like a ruthless hammer. After pulling out from your rucksack the last bottle of soft drinks, you being exhausted will roll on the ground senseless. Sense when regained, you listen to the wind of the storm. It's the curse of the god of sands and deserts. Throughout your life, you all alone will go on searching water. You will earn money, enjoy solvency, but never you will get a beloved. Thank you very much.
It's beautiful poems, but we want to listen the Bangla beauty also. Can you read these poems or some else poem in Bangla in the beautiful language?
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Shaswati, are you? Can you hear to read? Listen to me.
Yes,
Kamini,
yes. What I was saying,
you please read in Bangla also.
okay, in Bangla. Okay, that's
Okay.
তৃতীয় বিশ্বের কবিতা। কেউ নই, আমি কেউ নই। তৃতীয় বিশ্বের এক তুলো চাষি তার ছোট ছেলে, সমুদ্রের ফেনা খেয়ে বড় হই, পুড়ে যাওয়া ত্বকে সমস্ত শরীর জুড়ে পৃথিবীর মানচিত্র আঁকা। পেটের পাকস্থলী জুড়ে শুধু পেঁচিয়ে পেঁচিয়ে ওঠে খিদে। যদি ভালোবাসা দাও, ম্যাজিকের মতো সেটা 3 গুণ করে রেখে আসবো পায়ের পাতায়। যদি ঘৃণা দাও, যদি শরীর অপমান করো, প্রতিশোধে ফেরাবো না, ফিরে আসবো লেখার কাগজে। এক একটা কবিতা আমি ছুঁড়ে মারবো ড্যাগারের মতো। তৃতীয় বিশ্বের সব ছেলেরা তো এরকমই হয়। And my second poem, একটি মিশরীয় উপকথা। যে তোমাকে ভালোবাসে তার দিকে পাথর ছুঁড়ো না, সে পাথর ফিরে আসবে তোমার দিকেই কোনোদিন। মিশরীয় উপকথা প্রবাদে এমনই লেখা ছিল, মাননি সেসব তুমি। চুইংগাম চিবোতে চিবোতে প্রথম প্রেমিক তাকে ডিচ করে দূরে সরে গেছো। সকাল 8:10 পার হচ্ছ শান্ত মরুভূমি। মরীচিকা নেই, শুধু উটের কঙ্কাল চারিদিকে। এরপরে সূর্য হবে অতিকায় হাতুড়ির মতো, রুকস্যাক থেকে শেষ পানীয় বোতল বার করে বেহুশ লুটিয়ে পড়ে যাবে। ঝড় থেমে গেলে তবে সে হাওয়ায় কান পেতে শুনো, বালি ও মরুভূমির দেবতার এই অভিশাপ। সমস্ত জীবন তুমি একা একা জল খুঁজে যাবে। অর্থ পাবে, সচ্ছলতা পাবে, কিন্তু প্রেমিক পাবে না। থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ। থ্যাংক ইউ ফর গিভিং দিস অপরচুনিটি।
Thank you very much, Ashwatji. We really enjoyed the sound of Bangla. Of course, your poems in English were wonderful, but we enjoyed them much more in Bangla because there's a music to that language. There's
Definitely,
music
because
that
as you know that as per UNESCO, Bengali is the sweetest language of the earth. So it is really musical. It's just like a rain after a
I'm
summer
sure it
afternoon.
is. I'm sure it is,
Thank
and
you. Thank
it's not for nothing that Rabindranath Tagore brought it to music.
you. Okay.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much. And with that, I think we have the privilege of moving on to our next poet for the
Uh,
evening. We have with us Professor Dr. Jetan Kelmendi. Dr. Jetan is a poet, he's a player, he's a publicist, he's a translator, publisher, and a professor of university and an academic. For many years, he has written poetry, he's written prose, essays, and short stories. He's a regular contributor to many magazines in Albania and abroad, and he writes on many cultural and political topics, especially concerning international affairs. Jeton became well known in Kosovo after the publication of his first book entitled The Century of Promises. And I don't know how to read it in his language, but this was published in 1999. And later he published a number of other books. His poems are translated in more than 27 languages and published in several international literature anthologies. He is the most translated Albanian poet and well known in Europe. According to a number of literary critics, Kalmendi is the genuine representative of modern Albanian poetry. And how happy are we to have you with us, Jeton? Thank you so much. I can see that you've joined us from the car and you're probably not at home, but it's so lovely, and that's the beauty of poetry. It doesn't need a setting and it doesn't need a desk. Wonderful to have you with us, and we're so eager to hear your poems.
Hi to everybody. First of all, let me congratulate you for these great ideas, bringing together the four countries from four cultures from different languages. My dear friend Rati, I met in Europe, and as you mentioned, I'm in the car. Unfortunately, I couldn't because I just finished my work and I had to pick my boy from the kindergarten, and now I have to go home. But it's the traffic. It's very bad. As you know, in Europe now is afternoon. So sorry for that, but with deep pleasure, all the time I was listening our colleagues, our you the speaker with a good speech and everything what you do. In fact, the poetry is becoming day and after day less and less. I would say maybe some of us we agree, but maybe not all. We have less reader, but we are coming to more elite. The poets are just the one elite, and you know the elite is just a small people, small group of people. However, it's necessary to insist that we have to perceive, especially in our days, difficult days, as after the pandemic, COVID-19, and different other satisfactions. In this case, I would encourage, and of course with deep pleasure, to congratulate you for these ideas to bring countries and cultures together.
he is in a car, and so he will come back again. That is the beauty of virtual poetry reading, so that not only you are not reading from the stage, but you are reading from your uh, like he's
Sorry.
reading from the place. Yeah, please come.
Maybe it comes again because it was some disconnection. I don't know. Maybe 4G doesn't work as well. I'm not sure, but I couldn't hear you. Sorry for this interruption. So this in general, I can say this is the idea who lives with poetry. And I would read a very short poem about poetry, who is poet and what is the poetry, to continue my little speech about this wonderful organization by you. A poet is a person who lives with poetry, who drinks a poetry. Food is the poetry, and the poet is somebody who, in fact, in his or her real life, is only poetry and unique poetry. That's why we have to be strongly supporting each other, linking with each other in different languages, because we have to be also thankful to the technology, because gives us this possibility to be all together. For example, my friend Rati, I have met her last time, I think 4 or 5 years ago, even more. And imagine how nice it's a nice feeling to meet my friends from India, me from Europe, other friends from Turkey, you from Bangladesh, and a beautiful culture. I was trying, however, I don't understand the Bangla language in the Bangladeshi, but it sounds excellent. And even if I don't understand, my ears likes to this music, to this poetry, which sounds in a good musical way. I will read just a little poem in Albanian. I will try also later on to read or even to adapt directly in the English, because unfortunately I cannot open as I'm driving in the city. It's not easy to read, but I will try to read. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm waiting for you. It's a love poem in Albanian, how it sounds in Albanian. Because don't forget, my language is Albanian, is the language of Mother Teresa. And just an information, I come from the western side of Kosovo, where Mother Teresa was born. And the poem is Po te pres. Për te i mosive të mia në dikund të askundit, pritja vazhdon, nëse ardhja e shkuarja kanë kuptim, janë pra të arsyeshme. Të takojnë faqet e librave të mbyllur dhe titujt poezive të harruara të kërkoj, mendimeve të shumta kur në mua shfaqet mungesa, dhe kështu të gjitha pritjet mi ka kaluar, me ty ecim rrugëve.
He's still driving and he lost the connection. Such a beautiful language and beautiful sound. And it hurts when this. But it is beautiful that poet is reading poetry. Yes, come back, Jatan.
Yeah.
Come. Continue.
Yeah,
reading.
it's unfortunately this
No
this is the but I will continue. Me ty ecim rrugëve të panjohura që vetëm në ëndër i shoh. Kështu pritet vetja jon kur ata që merr dikush akoma po të pres. Nuk flas më për ty. I kam harxuar gjitha mendimet. If you can hear, I will try just this poem to adopt in English. Can you hear me, please?
Yes.
Sorry, interrupting. I am waiting for you. Beyond my possibilities, in somewhere of nowhere, the waiting continues. If the come and the go has the meaning, if they are reasonable, to meet you in the pages of closed books, in the titles of forgotten poems, I search for you. I search in the thoughts, many thoughts, where in me it appears the absence, and so all the waiting.
He lost connection again. So this is again the beauty, what we say in Sanskrit. The space between poetry is also very important. So this is the space of modern time, modern technology, and he is in a car, a poet in a car. Yes. Jeton, we are listening to you. If you get connection back, can read, continue. Such a beautiful poem and beautiful
I have
presentation.
Jetan's poems in translation. I think
Please.
in the meantime,
You
I
read,
could read out one.
read out that same. Do you have that poet?
No, I don't have the same poem. I have another poem which is called Love in a Wartime.
Okay, please.
Sometime I want them to happen differently. These things, for example, I wish a heavy fog surrounded me until the border is easily passed. To pass there, first of all, where a few months ago I saw a girl with curly hair, only seeing her and later dreaming about her, I fell in love. But in the end, this is war, and we don't know the future. Every day, fighting with death, these stories that someone or another fell from freedom, fell for freedom, or other news such as the enemy was destroyed, these are daily routines. Perhaps even to share with a friend that he desires love in a wartime, that friend will think you're stupid. But even in the fiercest firefights, a soldier will never stop thinking about love. I have experienced it myself in a time of war. God knows when the end might come. Perhaps neither time has space for love. Time has its toll. But what if everyone would plant death? Who would be harvesting love? A poet thinks that the greatest loves are born in times of war. Perhaps, perhaps, perhaps by exceeding the imagination of a biblical story, or even the most illustrious stories of Lorca and Hemingway. Simply, love is another war. It's an infinite war, even the longest war than any other war, but its weapons are something else: heart, soul, sex. I came myself and went right to the center of stage. There is war looking at it day after day. Life is becoming even more boring. This is how it started. My mind was confused, while with happiness I was ready for a little more love. Is this a dream or an anti dream? Today I'm sure if someone would ask, but surprisingly, it happened 99 times, and I have been able to die the 99th time without war. How the time of love begins cannot be imagined, only that there is love and war. Late at night, the moon has forgotten to come outside. A soldier has returned, departs, in other front lines. In a time of war, when there is love, war continues. Ah, soldier, oh soldier. If Chetan is back with us, I think, and if he wants to read another poem in Albanian, we are happy to hear him.
He has to complete his poem, and I think he's saving his net energy. I think so. He's online. Jetan, can come back and complete your poem, please?
Can you hear me, please?
Yes. Please.
Oh, thanks a lot. I'm again so sorry because the internet connection, it's not so quality. Sorry for this, but as you know, we have to deal with this. Thanks a lot for the beautiful reading my poem, which I wrote about 23 years ago when I was a young soldier during the war. However, always I dreamed the love, my passion, my life is the love and the poetry. So I would love first to have this poem in a Bangla because it sounds very nice, this language, and I would like to have translated into Bangla this poem and published somewhere. Sorry for this, but it sounds excellent to me, the Bangla. So I will try to read if you can. If you can hear, I will read another poem in Albanian, and our friend and colleague could read one poem that you have in English, and that's it. Is it okay to continue, please?
Yes, absolutely, please.
Life in forgetfulness. In Albanian, jeta në harrim. Më shpërfil qëllim shem jeta në dhe, duke u ngjitur për pjet viteve të mia në liri. Bëhet kështu, bëhet në jetë ka gjëra të bukura që bëhen dhe bëhen. Në sytë e kohës humbëm njëri tjetrin, kështu po jetojmë në harrim. Herët më dukshme ishte dita. Gjurmëve të mia thoshte ankimi, me vakti përcolla shpresat e përziera me iluzione të gjitha mendimet që besojnë në mua. Me kujdes i palova në një skajt kohës me i rilexu, pasi të kenë shkuar harrimi e jetat këtë kthyer në kujtim. This was another little poem what I could find in my telephone in Albanian version. Maybe it's better, and it is better quality also if our friend could read another poem of mine in English, please.
Absolutely, Jeton. Absolutely, Jeton. I'm going to read another poem of yours that I have in translation. And the poem is called I Have Walked on the Roads of Others.
Thanks a lot.
Don't be late. The hours go forward, just like soldiers. Night has complicated the streets. Silence knocks at my door. I'm not inside today. Have gone outside and far away, away from home, away from myself, away with myself. Distances, hours to overcome, and I'm alone. Everything goes in its own way. Only me on the way. Only me on the way of the others. Depart towards myself. I don't see its roof. Night has lost my road. Many times I have said to myself, don't be late. Night is horrible. What have I loved? Whom am I looking for? I share with myself the rhythms of thoughts. They are similar to me somewhat. Whew. It's beginning already. It's beginning early. Silence. And I understand I have been a dream, my love. Nor in a dream will I not find you. Where did you hide the traces? In what sky are you sleeping? Tomorrow night I will come to have a few hours of vagabond sleep with you. Today I have walked alone in the roads of others. Tomorrow night I will come to have a few hours of vagabond sleep with you. Today I have walked alone in the roads of others. Thank you so much, Jeton. That was a beautiful poem. We obviously did not understand your poems in Albanian, but we are thankful that we had some poems in translation in English. And maybe someday we have an opportunity of hearing more poems from you. In the meantime, we are sorry to say that we are missing a few other poets who we were expecting to join us, but for some or the other reason, they haven't been able to, most of them from Bangladesh. There could be a collective reason, there could be 3 individual reasons why they haven't joined. But since, as Rati ma'am said, poetry abounds and we are surrounded by poetry inside out, we are poets, we're all of us poets, and Rati ma'am being our leader, I'm going to request her to start with an internal poetry reading session from the team. And Rati ma'am, why don't you read us a couple of your poems?
Yeah. I do not know that what is the boundary line for the poetry, because when we are poets, then we don't have any boundary line. And when this is the last session, and this is the first session where the poets promise and miss. So, are you saying something, Saraswat? Are you saying something? Hello? Are you saying something, Saraswat? Then you have to unmute yourself. Shashwata,
Shashwati, do you want to say something?
you're saying something? Then you have to unmute. Huh? Are you saying something?
No.
Actually, one thing I just want to say that after the pandemic, though the pandemic is not fully over, now it's the time to unite us across the world, because the only positive side during the pandemic situation is the virtual platform, which all of you will agree. And there are so many virtual poetry events across the globe, because even sitting in Kolkata, I have been invited every week from Latin America, from Australia, or any part of distant part of Europe. So that has created and opened up the new horizon and new opportunity, that all poets across the globe, now it's the time to unite, to be united. So this is the only positive side during the pandemic situation, that is the discovery of this virtual platform. So I think since I stay in Calcutta, which is regarded as the cultural capital of India, and here Bengali is a very rich language. It is the fourth largest language of the earth. Now it is now time to touching hands of every poet, even sitting in my home, and it's really my great honor to be here. Now I will be really honored if in future if I take the privilege to participate here. So it is now the everything is virtual, and the time after the COVID, I think this is the most positive sign. That's all.
Definitely, Shashwati. We'll keep in touch. Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Shashwat, this Kritya-Poetry Festival is the first poetry festival in India.
Okay.
It started in 2005, and it was the
Yes.
first poetry festival. And it was first the nomadic poetry festival. We were moving country to country, place to place, state to state. Like first was in Kerala, then Jammu and Kashmir, and then we came back to Kerala. Then we have gone to Punjab, then we have gone to Bangalore, then we have gone to Nagpur after that, then again Kerala, then Vardha, then Kerala. So, and after that, Kerala, up to 2016, we have done into Kerala. Moreover, this Kritya Poetry Festival was not only sitting on the stage and with the big posters. We never put posters, we never put publicity, we never spent a single pie on the publicity, but we were going to jail, we were going to hospitals, we were going to old age home, and we were, so it is very different. And when the pandemic started, when the pandemic started, the Kritya has taken the first step to start the virtual poetry festival. That time the StreamYard was not actually coming up, and we had really problem, and then this was the first festival for 10 days. Kritya has started in India again, and we will continue it. And this is actually not poetry festival, this is the part of word poetry movement, which has many thousands and thousand poets. I think you are also one of the member, so we all doing and we connecting. Moreover, Kritya has done and Kritya has done very
Just 1 hour back, I was chatting with renowned poet like Ashwini Kumar of Maharashtra, Mamang Dai of Arunachal Pradesh, Kedar Mishra of Bhubaneswar. So everybody, they know about the Kritya Poetry Festival, and they were aware that today evening I have poetry reading session in Kritya. So that is the beauty of this excellent poetry movement.
Yeah. This is Mamang Dai, and all these are old friends of Kritya. We have started from 2005. I'm little upset first time because Bangla is a very important language, and this first time happened in Kritya that 4 poets are missing. 4 poets, never, no one is missing. So first time I'm disappointed. I do not know why didn't they join, because they agree for it, but the poetry is always continue, and we don't wait for anyone. We have poetry and we continue with it. But you know that not only that big poets, we renowned poets, we invite the poets from the labor class. We invite the poet, like Marathi poets. You know that one poet was a farmer, one another was a labor, another was a police worker, and we invite the northeast common poets. And then we, for Hindi also, we have invited. They were very good poets, but from mountain area or from Registan and all.
Another interesting thing just I want to mention that as you know that Bengali poetry, Bengali literature is very much powerful, but hardly there are any translation to English and any representation of Bengali poetry to the outer world. I don't know whether you know or not that the recent World Poetry Festival in Argentina, where Roti, you and my are the only invited from India. I think I can send you the picture flyer. I think you have got it. That one of the very big international poetry festival has started in Argentina. That will be also happened in virtual platform. Now, in the last 30 years, last 5 years, my poems have been regularly published in all 6 continents, and very within few months, even my poetry book will be published from all 6 continents. Now, I have started a journey in last 3 or 4 years, but hardly you will get any kind of other Bengali young poets whose poems are regularly published in the global platform. That's the sad thing about the Bengali poets, because most of the Bengali poets, they don't take any initiative. They are little bit shy, and also the lack of translators. That's the one of the major things of crisis. So actually, from my side, I have started a journey, and I am taking the initiative with my poems.
You can do one thing, that next time for Kritya, you can suggest the young poets, and we will try to help them in good terms. They can provide us rough translation. We will help them to correct their translation into English. Kamaini and very good translators are there in our team. They work very nicely. Kamaini is a wonderful poet and wonderful actually English professor also. So they will help you. Next poetry, this is not poetry festival. When our poetry festival is coming, you can give us at least young poets who don't get any place anywhere, so they can get the place for on this virtual world and for the on this word stage, because Kritya is very known name around the world, and I have been invited. I have because of Kritya to many countries. So it is a magic. Kritya is a kind of magic. We are running without any support, government support alone, for almost from 2006 onward. So this is a good suggestion. And Kamini, why don't you read your poem
Prati
first?
ma'am, we are waiting for your poem first.
My poem. Okay, I read in Hindi only. Hindi.
Absolutely wonderful.
And this is very new poem actually. This is just few days back I have written about the Ukraine, the war, for the war, and very small poems. It's not very difficult. Mm, uh, uh, I think Shaswat can understand Hindi also, so I will try to read.
Definitely.
And very small poems and very simple. For the war, युद्ध के लिए. तलवार इसके हाथ में है, ढाल उसके हाथ में है. एक ने तलवार चलाई, दूसरे ने ढाल अड़ाई. बीच में कट गया एक बच्चे के पिता का हाथ, दूसरे की माँ की गर्दन, तीसरे की दादी का घर, चौथे के चाचा का सिर, पांचवा, छठा, सातवां, आठवां. तलवार सिर्फ एक हाथ में है. Then दूसरी पोएम है, सेकंड पोएम. There was a clip where a 10 years old boy was sent to Poland by his mother alone, and mother could not come with him because she has to look after her parents. So The boy didn't know that. I was surprising that how this boy, 10 years boy, was happily leaving the place and going to Poland. And what will he think after 10 years or 15 years? What will happen to that boy? So it was a very disturbing thing for me, and I wrote this. सुबह सवेरे माँ ने कड़ी रोटी दूध में भिगोकर सामने रख दी, मीठे बिस्किट का एक टुकड़ा भी, थमा दी प्लास्टिक की एक थैली जिसमें रखे थे कुछ कपड़े, दाई हथेली में पकड़ाया कागज का पुर्जा, माँ के हाथ के पसीने की गंध वाला। बड़े हो गए हो, तुम्हें बैठना था रेलगाड़ी में जो कभी नहीं रुकती हो। और इतना कहकर माँ मुड़ी, घर के दरवाजे के भीतर गई। नहीं देख पाई उसे भीड़ में गुम होते हुए। भीतर इंतजार में थी 2 बूढ़ी आंखें। 10 साल के कदम रेलगाड़ी के रोमांच में चलते रहे पैदल रेलगाड़ी से अनजानी यात्रा में। सालों लग जाएंगे अंजाम तक पहुंचने में, सालों लग जाएंगे अंजाम तक पहुंचने में।
Absolutely beautiful,
Your
Ratna.
signature poem.
Beautiful.
Then it was so sad that when you see the bombs falling on these hospitals, and especially it was the hospital when the small children were there. So this is about that. वह मोजे में आखिरी फंदे डाल रही थी अपने होने वाले पोते के लिए। तभी गिरता है आग का गोला प्रसूति घर पर। कैमरे का लेंस मांस के लोथड़ों में साबुत दिखाता है केवल एक नन्हा सा पांव मोजे के बिना।
बहुत खूबसूरत मैम, ब्यूटीफुल।
लास्ट में है द ओल्ड पीपल दे कुड नॉट वॉक, that is why they could not leave the Ukraine. They were left, they wanted to leave alone because they could not walk. So this is the last poem. मेरे कोनों में दर्द है इतना कि दरवाजे तक नहीं जा सकती। भीड़ मेरी खिड़की के सामने से गुजरती है, सूखे उदास चेहरे लिए। मैं दीवार से टिकी साइकिल को देखती हूँ। मैं और मेरी साइकिल उन सब जगहों पर घूम आते हैं जहां मैं तुम्हारे साथ घूमी थी पिछली बार। खिड़की मुस्कुराने लगती है, दरवाजा खड़खड़ाने लगता है, एक फाइटर जेट ऊपर से गुजरता है। हम जल्दी मिलेंगे प्रिय, जल्दी मिलेंगे।
बहुत खूबसूरत मैम।
Those.
So
I'm so glad we had an opportunity to hear your poems, actually.
Thank you very much. So Kamaini, you also joined, and I think
Yes, ma'am.
Brajesh
I
is
think
also
we are going to invite Brajesh ji because he's been behind stage for all the sessions
all
and
the
he's
time. So yeah,
been
so,
the technical support and the man behind the show. ब्रजेश जी, आप जो कवि हैं, अब आज हम उनको सुनना चाहते हैं।
ब्रजेश जी आपने खुद टेक्नोलॉजी करते करते खुद को म्यूट नहीं कर पाए।
आवाज आ रही है?
हाँ, आप आ गए, बोलिए।
सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद दूंगा रति मैम को और उसके बाद कृत्या मंच को जो मुझे अवसर देते हैं पीछे भी और कभी कभी आगे पढ़ने के लिए भी। मैं उसके लिए बहुत बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। और जैसा कि पूरा ये महीना जो है अप्रैल का, सबसे पहला जो हमारा प्रोग्राम हुआ था नॉर्थ ईस्ट की लैंग्वेज को लेकर के, वो बहुत अच्छा रहा। और उसके बाद आपके मराठी लैंग्वेज में, और आपका हिमाचल के जिसको कमानी जी ने खुद ही होस्ट किया था, और आज ये बांग्ला लैंग्वेज में हुआ है। शाश्वत जी बहुत अच्छी कविताएं पढ़ी उन्होंने। मैं अपनी कविताएं हिंदी में पढ़ूंगा। पहली तो युद्ध को लेकर है, जो इस समय सिचुएशन चल रही है। हालांकि 2 साल से लगभग 2021-22 पूरा कोरोना में लगभग गुजर गया। क्या मजदूर, कोई भी बिजनेसमैन या जो भी वर्कर्स हैं, अलग अलग परेशानियों से गुजरते रहे। लेकिन इस समय वर्तमान में जगह जगह अपनी छोटे युद्ध भी चल रहे, छोटे क्या बड़े युद्ध, बड़ी विभीषक युद्ध भी चल रहे हैं। उसी में से एक छोटी कविता है मेरी, मदांध, जिसका शीर्षक है सूरजमुखी। मदान्ध युद्धक सोच ताग रही लगातार ईर्ष्या के दहकते अंगारे। मदान्ध युद्धक सोच दाग रही लगातार ईर्ष्या के दहकते अंगारे, फैलाने को दावानल जो कर दे धरती को खाक। वो लीलती जा रही हरे भरे वन, उपवन, जीव जंतु, रंग बिरंगे कीट पतंग, उड़ती तितलियों संग प्रवासी पक्षी भी। जीवंत शहर, खुशहाल गांव, बुजुर्ग, युवा, बच्चे और नौनिहाल, लहलाती फसलें, खेत खलिहान और आकर्षित करते रंग बिरंगे फूलों संग सूरजमुखी भी। हैरान हो जाती है धूप भी यह देखकर, सूरज से तपन चुराकर। विषाक्त हो चुकी सुगंध को माधुर्य देने और अपनी मुस्कुराहट के अस्तित्व के लिए दहकते अंगार हो रहे हैं मुख अब आहत फूलों संग कलियों के भी। जैसे अभी युद्ध के समय वायरल हुई बहुत सारी पिक्चर्स, बेटियां, महिलाएं सब अपनी अपनी आवाज़ को उठा रही, तो उसको संबंध में ये कविता लिखी थी। और कमानी जी का दूसरी इजाज़त हो तो मैं दूसरी कविता पढ़ूं?
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, इजाजत की जरूरत नहीं है आपको, प्लीज।
शीर्षक है कैलिडोस्कोप। चूंकि मैं गांव का रहने वाला हूं, गांव की पृष्ठभूमि है, तो इसलिए एक उसी पे एक कविता लिखी है। मेरा छोटा सा गांव, गांव में मेरा घर और घर के आंगन में बैठी मेरी बूढ़ी विधवा माँ। झुर्रीदार हरी नसों वाले हरे ही गोदने से गुदे उसके हाथ, पहने चांदी के कड़े, खनखनाती रंगीन चूड़ियों के बगैर अपनी सूनी कलाइयाँ देख भर आई थी झील सी उनकी आंखें भोर के उजाले में।
बहुत खूब।
आंगन में कुछ नौनिहाल हाथ में लिए एक देसज कैलिडोस्कोप, टूटी रंगीन चूड़ियों के टुकड़ों से बनाते बिगाड़ते इंद्रधनुषी परिदृश्य। उल्लासित नवखोजियों को देख चहक उठी अगले ही पल माँ, फैल गई थी उनके चेहरे पर खुशी और होठों पर हल्की सी मुस्कान। सुबह की सुनहरी रोशनी सांझ के चेहरे पर झिलमिलाने लगी, उनकी दूरदर्शी आंखें जगमगा उठीं अपने ही आंगन में हीरक सी धूप फैलती हुई देखकर।
बहुत खूबसूरत ब्रजेश जी, बहुत अच्छे, बहुत बढ़िया।
आ,
तो अब चलते चलते एक कविता मैं पढ़ूंगी
हाँ
जो
नहीं बिल्कुल।
वॉर पे तो नहीं है लेकिन पीस पे है। अ, और इसका शीर्षक है द होली ग्रेल। डू यू टॉक ऑफ पीस, द
जी।
होली ग्रेल इन इटर्नल फ्लाइट? I see it in the hallowed sky in Gaza, lighting up its horizons in the middle of the night. I see it dance across the ribs, playing hopscotch with dazed children. In the parched fields of erstwhile glory, I see it perched on mountain passes with a solitary eagle ready to swoop into the valley with the first gunshot. I hear its song in anthems of pride, blaring through public address systems. I hear it in the gurgling of a farmer's tummy, music that rocks governments' dance floors. I smell it in putrid wounds of history, sanitized for visitors in museums and memorials. Gas that leaks out of chambers into dreams on plush couches. I taste it on the nipples of my estranged spouse like rancid milk. I hold it tight in ever empty hands and keep it safe like dynamite on my tongue. The Holy Grail seeks no quest. It exists in its sparkling absence. One last poem, which is called Peace. I remember the day my father told me the meaning of a certain word, peace. An evening before the radio blurted news of the Prime Minister's murder. And an evening after, I had heard him and my mother fight behind the closed door of their bedroom. I asked him what peace looked like. He had said, like the face of God. For a long time, I looked at the crucified God in school and wondered why peace should bleed until I grew older and realized that parents do not know all. Peace does not look like God. It looks like my dead grandma's face. Deja vu. My little son asks me what peace means, and I smile. You too shall know one day, my son. Until then, it's a bird that flies in the clear blue sky. Like the one on the soap, Mama? He asks. Yes, I say. So I think that's the end of the session today. We were hoping to end it with some few words of thanks and gratitude and winding up from Ratiji, but she seems to have had some urgent work to attend to. And therefore, I think I take the opportunity to winding up this session, not only this session, which was the last final session, the fifth one of this current series, but we also conclude this current series of poems and poetry, which was dedicated to the world, to this earth, which is our home, which was dedicated to all those people who are having to face and suffer war, internal, external, political, economic, social, whatever. Thank you, everyone. All those who joined
Okay.
us as poets,
My
thank you
future
for
terms are, I will love to join
poems.
in future also. Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
शाश्वत जी
Thank you so
धन्यवाद,
much,
कहानी जी
Pratik.
आपका
Thank
भी
you.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद.
Sincere gratitude and
Thank you.
compliments from Kolkata.
Thank you. Brajeshji, good night. Everyone, good night.
Good night.